today we are going to make a nice Indian side dish. We're going to make some onion bhajis. Dead simple to do, and all we're going to need to do this is some onions, or one onion, and some flour. Okay, well it's a little tiny bit more complicated than just onions and flour, but what we're going to need is some spices to go with it. So we're going to get some paprika, some smoked paprika, some hot curry powder. If you want them redder, you can use chili powder instead, but I'm going to use curry powder. Some turmeric and some ground coriander. That's pretty much it, okay? A bit of salt for seasoning, but that's the lot. Okay, so we're going to get a bowl, we'll get these mixed up and I'll show you what to do with them. Okay, so first off we're going to peel our onion, okay? So we just top the ends off it. Trim it up. Okay, and all you do need really is one decent sized onion for this. It's up to you how you do this. You can cut these into big rings, but the best way to do it is to half it and then cut it nice and thin slices. There we go. Get that away from me. Yeah, and what you want to do then is get this onion into your bowl. So there we are, with your onion in your bowl. What you're going to need to do now is to get your hands in there, but first of all, we're going to put a good generous amount of salt, okay? So you're going to want about a teaspoon of salt for seasoning, okay? Get that into there. And yeah, so about, like I said, a good teaspoon of salt. Get your hands in now and break these onions up so they're all separate, and at the same time mixing the salt into them. So once they're all mixed up with the salt, what we're going to do is we're going to add all of our spices now. So we'll start with our turmeric. We're going to add 1 teaspoon of turmeric, okay, 1 good sized teaspoon. Get that into there. We're going to add our paprika, and we want another good sized teaspoon of paprika in there. There we are. Like I said, depending on how red you want these, you can add a bit more paprika if you want to add a redder colour. Coriander, we're going to put 1 good heaped teaspoon of coriander in there, okay, because that's going to add a lovely amount of flavour to it. And our hot curry powder. Again, if you want them redder, use chili powder. Okay, and what we're going to want is 2 teaspoons, 2 decent sized teaspoons of hot curry powder. And lastly, I did forget to mention this ingredient, garlic. Okay, you're going to pop some lazy garlic I'm going to use. You can use cloves if you want to crush them up, but I'm going to add about 1 teaspoon of lazy garlic into that mix. And then what you want to do is get yourself a fork at this stage and just mix all that into those onions. Lovely. So get them all coated. So they're all nice and covered up with our spice mix. There we go. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add our flour. I'm just going to use plain flour, okay? You should really use gram flour, which is a pale yellow colour, but for this video I'm just going to use plain flour because it's what most people have. Okay, so we've got our onions all mixed there. We're going to want about 5 tablespoons of flour straight into that. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Get that all mixed in with a fork. Okay, so there we have it. We have our dry mix all made up. All we need to do now to this is to add water. You're going to need to make this into a kind of a batter, a thick batter, not too runny, not too thick. So around about, for this quantity that we've used, you want around about 75 mils of cold water. May want 100, may want a little bit less, but we'll just play around with it, and we'll start off with 75 mils, okay? So we've got 75 mils of cold water into this mix. Yeah. We'll get that mixed up now and see what sort of a batter we get out of that. Like I say, if it's too thick, we'll add a bit more water. If it's too thin, We'll just have to add a splash, a little sprinkle more flour. Yeah, it's going to be too thick, so we'll add a little tiny bit more water to that. There we are. So we make that about 100 mils. Mix it all in again with a fork. There we go. And that is just about where you want it. Yeah, a nice sort of very, very thick onion bhaji batter. Beautiful. Okay, so over at the stove we have a pan here with about half a litre, 500 millilitres of oil, vegetable oil, okay? We need to get that temperature up to about 150, 160 tops, okay? We don't really want it much hotter than that. And then down here we have a plate with some kitchen roll on there so that we can drain off our bhajis when they come out of the fat. Okay, so let's pop the heat up on that, let that get warm. Okay, so with the bhaji mix itself, how we're going to form these, and what we're going to do, we're going to use a technique called a quenelle. And you're going to need two sort of dessert spoons for this, okay? And we're going to take out the bhaji mix to sort of fill this dessert spoon, and then we're going to turn it into a sort of a quenelle. It's not going to be exactly a quenelle because it's a specific shape, but that's the technique we're going to use, and then we're going to drop them straight into the oil. So let me show you the technique, and then we can get these frying. Yeah, so get your 1 spoon now and scoop up enough mixture just to sort of fill the spoon, like so. Can be a little bit difficult. And with your other spoon then, pass it between the 2 spoons till you get yourself a rough kind of ball, and then that ball can go straight in to the oil. There we are, so we'll just finish our quenelle quickly. There we are, and this oil is nice and hot now, so we can drop this bhaji straight in. There we go. And what I would do, I would only cook probably about 2 or 3 of these all at once, okay? So get another one in there now, and another one on top of that, and that'll probably be enough to be going on with, so cook them in batches of 3. There we are. So there's 3 in there now, and they're going to cook in that oil for about, only for about 4 minutes or so, 4 or 5 minutes, until they're nice and hot in the centre, and then we can get them out onto the blue roll. And there we are. So these bhajis have been cooking in this oil now for about 4 minutes or so. Just had a quick look at one of them, and they're lovely. They're nice colour, so we're going to whip them out and get them draining onto this blue roll, and we cook the rest of them. Guys, onion bhajis all cooked. The ultimate Indian comfort food. Enjoy.